Greetings, Bar! Today we are going to go a little bit south of the border to South America, where we are making a caipirinha. Now, a caipirinha is a drink that is the national drink of Mexico, and it uses a drink called cachaça. Very similar to rum. It's made with the actual sugarcane though, whereas rum is made from the molasses from the sugarcane, so it's got a little bit of a different flavor profile to it. Now, this is really not a drink that I know how to make, so I'm gonna call in an audible and call in my friend Moreira Bahnson, who's off on the West Coast doing all sorts of wonderful things, and he's gonna help us out to make this drink. So let's go ahead and give him a call on my magical pretend phone, because, you know, it's the internet, everything is a lie. Edward! You made it!
Hello?
Hello!
Hello? Oh, this is not my phone.
Oh yeah, no, it's coming through nice and clear. See, it's nice and clear.
It's nice and clear. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing marvelously. We got the sun shining. It's a gorgeous day. It's gonna hit 80 this weekend, maybe with thunderstorms, but you know, we'll do what we can with it. It's a gorgeous day, and I'm in the mood for a nice kind of citrusy drink that's got the sugariness going on and nice and chilled down to, you know, complement the gorgeous weather we got outside. So, what do we got for the caipirinha?
Well, caipirinha is, to me, synonymous of summer. It's something that brings me back to the beach and the beaches of Brazil, to be more precise. As you know, I am originally from Uruguay. I am of Portuguese descent through Brazil as well, and I used to spend a lot of summer holidays with my family in Brazil. And as soon as I was old enough to drink, I started tasting cachaça, and that, my friend, it's not 21 down there.
I was gonna say, how old were you when that happened?
I don't know if I want to say that. I mean, legally 18, but
You were the correct age.
correct. Anyway, so yes, caipirinha is the national drink of Brazil, and I would like to introduce this lovely drink, cachaça, that, as you mentioned, is made out of fermented sugarcane, and Brazilians would not have you call it a rum, even though when I went to the store here to get it, it was in the rum aisle.
Really?
Yes, because, you know, you ferment a sugarcane product and then you distill it just like you do with our friend rum over here. But I would invite you to do the following. Just get a little bit and have a taste of it by itself to actually taste the differences that you have between this and rum, because it is, you know, there's sugarcane flavors for sure. But
oh, that's really good.
it is good. I think it's very fresh. It's you know, herby, if you will, as opposed to rum that is more spice warm in hints and notes. Cachaça is almost never aged, even though you can age it up to a year. Most of it is clear. The aged ones sometimes are a little darker, sometimes purposely darkened by the producers to give a feel of aging. And then it borrows some flavor notes from the casks in which it was aged, but generally this is what you get for cachaça. So I would say, I know, grassy almost, and that freshness is what makes it such a good summery drink if you mix it with citrus and sugar, right? So and that's what we're gonna do. Before, I would like to tell you also a little bit about what it means, right? Caipirinha could be translated as little one from the countryside, and legend has it that it originated in the countryside, in the outside of the city of São Paulo, in the state of São Paulo, but the interior of the state, where the farmers and the landowners lived. There are many different stories about the origins, from having it as a tonic with garlic, if you will, and honey to treat ailments, from you know, being just a fancy cocktail to serve at the parties of these fazendeiros, which are the landowners in the interior of the state of Sao Paulo. But it's also there's a famous Brazilian painter who is from this state of Sao Paulo and used to hold parties living in Paris and serve caipirinha. And some people say that because she was a girl from the interior of Sao Paulo, or a caipirinha, a little girl from Sao Paulo, from the interior, that is why the name comes from. But enough talk about the drink, and let's make this drink. So we need limes, as you will, and sugar and cachaça. I'm going to take a rather small lime per drink. If you have big limes, use half or maybe 3/4 of a lime. And you need to wash these limes because you're not just going to juice them, you're going to put the whole, with the peel and the skin in the drink. So what I like to do is to cut the ends and then cut it in wedges, each half in 4 wedges. So that's what we have so far.
I may have an aggressively large lime. I'll just make a bigger drink.
You can make 2.
I could.
And then once you have these 8 wedges, you cut them in half like this.
Oh, so we end up with 16.
You make 16 half wedges.
As a side note, I'm suddenly reminded that I was opening up a foil container from a restaurant last night and gave myself a paper cut on my thumb. I'm being reminded.
So the key to this, the how to do the lime, is kind of straightforward, right? You're gonna muddle the lime with the sugar, but you could use a traditional muddler, if you will. I don't like using this because you don't muddle them enough. You get a lot of these pieces that are not squeezed enough, and you get a lot of juice that is still in the lime. So, but if this is what you have, you can use this. I use a mortar and pestle that I actually bought at the beach where they serve caipirinha, and that is the kind of it brings me back to the summer on the beach. So we're gonna put all these limes in my mortar and pestle, and then sugar. And this is not fancy at all, right? Like for most drinks you would use simple syrup, but this is what you get in a little hut at the beach with no fancy ingredients. And I have a tablespoon measure here. You can use any spoon you have. This is, as I said, not fancy. It's around between 12 and 15 grams of sugar. This is a tablespoon, so I actually measured in grams. It was 3 teaspoons.
Okay.
And so you want to muddle this to get all the juice out. Now, the key, and this is the only important part, if you do it too much, the peel will make it bitter. So you have to find the sweet spot to get all the juice out without making it too bitter.
And not making a ridiculous mess, presumably, is also part of the objective.
Messy is, it's fine, I think, for this.
I'm getting an aggressively large amount of juice out of my lime. I'm not necessarily mad at this, but it may make a large drink. Now to me, that looks like a lot of lime juice.
Yes, it is very limey. It is a lot of lime juice.
We aren't talking about British people now, are we?
No, we're still talking about Brazilian people then. So you want to use a short glass. I'm using a whiskey glass, but it could be any type of short glass. And unlike, as I said before, most drinks you use fancy equipment and you strain it. You don't need to strain this because you want all the lime wedges to go into your drink. So you would just pour all juice, sugar, and squished limes into your glass. And then fill that glass with ice.
I think I can only do 3 cubes, otherwise I'm gonna run out of space.
You do what you have to do then.
It's a tough world we live in right now. 3 ice cubes, powering through it.
Are people hoarding ice cubes and you're running out of ice?
Well, I actually do have to continually refresh my maker, but it's more the amount of volume that this cup can hold.
So now we go with a generous 2-ounce pour of cachaça.
Always generous.
Always generous. And what I generally do, just because, remember, this is sugar, we didn't use simple syrup. So in my mortar, there's always a little sugar left. So I rinse this with my cachaça, and then, whoa, there it goes into the caipirinha. And then after you have there, you stir it. I'm using just the back of my spoon here to do this. And tell me if it just looks like lemonade. It looks like something you would drink either on the beach or on your porch in your southern home, like now me that I live in the south in North Carolina. This is perfect.
It really does look like a lemonade, and the amount of lime in it means it's good for you because it's got vitamin C. So basically this is one big vitamin pill.
Yes, yes. So my friend, saúde, which would be cheers in Portuguese.
Saúde.
Have a taste of Brazil.
Brazil is delicious.
Brazil is delicious.
And you know, the better lime you have, the more fresh. I can imagine this coming right from a fruit market right off, like picked yesterday. The fresher limes you can get, that would be just the perfect beach drink.
It is. And generally you get, these little huts in the beach that have kilos and kilos and mounds of limes. And you go and you get this and you sit and look at the ocean, and it's marvelous. Now, let me tell you if you are gonna do this for a party and with friends, because it's perfect for a summer party, what we do in my family is we make pictures of it. Actually, I have proof of my husband making a picture of this for my family in their first visit to Uruguay, because this is not enough. And remember that if you cannot find cachaça, you can always use whatever liquor you want, and there's variations that are actually officially have official names. Actually, Bacardi has trademarked a drink with rum called Caipirinha, which is exactly the same proportions, but instead of cachaça you would put rum. And Smirnoff, I think, did the same with vodka, and it's called Caipirosca. There is also a Portuguese liqueur called Licor-REEN-yah that they use in Portugal to make a very similar drink that is called, instead of caipirinha, caipirão, which would translate as big one from the countryside instead of little one from the countryside. So experiment. There's also you can switch up the flavors with any tropical fruit juice that you want. So you can reduce the sugar a little bit and put guava juice. Passion fruit makes for a lovely caipirinha. So yes, feel free to experiment and enjoy. Now it's the perfect time to start making caipirinhas when the weather hits upper 70s or 80s. And let me tell you, thank you very much, Dan, for having me over and let me share this little part of my upbringing and my South American culture and experiences with you all. I hope you all enjoy this drink. And if the next outing that you go to get whatever drink you need to get, just check if your local store has some cachaça and give it a try.
Absolutely, and thank you for coming along. I may not have an ocean that I can sip this in front of, but I can certainly sit on my front porch and watch the world go by for a little bit and pretend that I'm looking off at the ocean, so that'll be just delightful, I think. Yeah. Well, Edward, thank you so much for joining us and teaching me all about the Caipirinha. I'm gonna go enjoy this one. Hopefully you can come back and visit us in Chicago. And until we drink again, cheers.
Can't wait. I can't wait.